Last week's teaching session went a lot smoother than any of the previous sessions. I felt a lot more confident when we went in for this teaching session and to go through with the lesson plan. I felt the last few sessions just hadn't been going as smoothly as we would have liked them to go. We've had a timesheet, but it always seems like either what we intend for the message to be doesn't really get communicated effectively, or we just aren't quite understanding in its entirety what we should be teaching the students. I always get the sense that the kids may be like a little bit bored or uninterested in what we're doing. I know that they're sixth grade, they're 11, 12, 13 years old. Their attention span might not be the longest, but I just only feel like we're only reaching out to maybe three or four when we're missing the larger the population and what we should be talking about. I always notice that there's only usually a few kids that answer the questions. There's a couple that every time we ask a question, those are the only hands raised that we see. And, there's always other ones who, I feel like they might have something to say, but they're just not, I don't know, they're not coming forth and saying what they have to say. Um, I am starting to feel that our message is being understood. The first couple weeks, I really didn't feel like, I felt like we were just going up there and ranting and raving, and they weren't really understanding while we were trying to tell them that they should be media literate and why it's important. But now I'm starting to feel that, they're understanding, the effects that the media has on and how it influences us in our everyday lives. Um, I thought that the activity that Harvey came up with was really, really good. To have the kids come up with their own personal campaign ad. I felt like it allowed them to be more engaged, and they could take what we were saying to them and put that into their own lesson, and get a feel for the influences that not only in campaigning ads but just ads in particular. By them participating and talking with one another and having to use the strategies that we gave them, I thought that was really, really effective. I think that if we wouldn't have had the different types of campaign strategies like name calling and I can't remember the other ones, but a few of the other ones that they wouldn't have really been able to understand why it's important, and the effects that campaigning has. When you're voting for the president, for senators, for mayors, and things like that. I really thought that the material for this lesson was really good. The other ones I'm kind of been struggling with a little bit, not really understanding what exactly is, trying to be conveyed out of, what we're supposed to be doing. I think that as we close in on the last couple weeks, there's still a couple things that, I'm not really sure that, the kids are understanding, or that I'm not understanding, is how we can get everybody involved and engaged and wanting to participate in what we're doing. And because I think that it is really, really important for them to know why we're teaching them on why they should be media literate. So just, kind of still struggling with how we can get everybody involved and participating. I know, it's probably maybe not the most interesting thing, but I don't know, I feel not everyone's involved and engaged. So that's kind of one of the things that as we go into our next group meeting and our next lesson plan, that I really want to find ways that we can get everybody involved and engaged. So I'm looking forward to next time, and we'll see you.